This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as Sunshine Line JSA and colon 4-6. Notice of the meeting was sent to the Daily Record and Citizen Thursday, January 2nd, 2025, and published in the Daily Record on Tuesday, January 7th, and the Citizen on Wednesday, January. These notices were sent within 48 hours prior to this meeting was sent sufficient time for the publications to publish them. Additionally, this meeting was re-advertised for. Notice of the meeting was sent to the Daily Record and Citizen on Thursday, September 25th, and published in both papers on Wednesday, October 1st. All notices were posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building as well as posted on the town's website. These notices were sent within 48 hours prior to this meeting and were sent sufficient time for the publications to publish them. Copy of said notices on file with the municipal clerk. I just want to go on record and state that we do have an interpreter here tonight, if anyone should be. At this time, I please ask everyone to rise for our pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Standing invocation, Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to serve our community. Grant us wisdom, patience, and unity as we make decisions for the good of all. May our actions reflect integrity, justice, and Amen. Roll call, please.
Here. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Here.
Santana.
Here.
Councilmember Scarlett.
Here.
Councilmember Tapia.
Present.
Councilmember Toro. Present. Councilmember Velez. Here. Councilmember Whitner. Here. Mayor Todd.
Here. Okay. Do you have any reports for them?
Sure. Could you just hold the mic?
DPW report. The DPW has been working hard at completing essential repairs, maintenance, and facility upgrades as we prepare for our annual Christmas parade and tree lighting on December 1st. Downtown JFK Park holiday decorations are already installed and ready for the season. DPW remains committed to providing efficient, equitable, and community-focused services for all residents. For maintenance and operations, road and street repairs are ongoing. Curbside leaf collection runs from October 14th to December 12th. Downtown street sweeping continues 6 days a week. Weekly signage repairs and installations of approved handicap signs. For sewer and park, routine sewer inspections, repairs, and responses to blockage complaints, weekly park maintenance, tree trimming, and build upkeep. For fleet and equipment, it's weekly vehicle maintenance, and winter equipment is fully prepared and ready to go. And the DPW looks forward to supporting the Christmas parade and the tree lighting on December 1st. That's all I got.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, tonight before we go to our public comment, I just want to speak about Ordinance 48 that's on the agenda tonight. Ordinance 48, 2025, an ordinance amending Chapter 57 of the Code, Town of Dover, to eliminate the position of Chief of Police and Deputy Chief of Police. This ordinance was to coincide with the Public Safety Director ordinance, which Judge Minkiewicz decided that judicial law would take precedence over legislative law, which I don't agree with. And I don't think any Supreme Court would agree with either. But being what it is, the judge ruled that Dover will not have a public safety director. So the ordinance 48, 2025 will be removed from the agenda tonight. That ordinance was put on the agenda without my approval, and unfortunately it's on for tonight, but I'm going to remove it. We're not even going to entertain it. That was to go coincide with the PSD ordinance. Ramon, while I'm on that subject, do you want to just update this board and update the public on the case with Judge Minkiewicz?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. So good evening, everyone. Last week on Friday, I believe, 21st, received the decision from Judge Miekowitz with respect to ordinances 30, 2025 and 42-2025, which are two ordinances which were passed by this council to install a public safety director and to abolish the chief's position. The judge voided both of those ordinances, so there's no action that needs to be taken. Denied, though, the request for attorney's fees and denied the applications finding the town of Dover in contempt related to voting on the ordinances. I respectfully disagree with the judge's conclusion and interpretation. I wholeheartedly believe that he is wrong on the law in his opinion with respect to the interpretation of North Brunswick, a case that we relied upon in crafting the ordinance, which was approved by the appellate division in 1999. And quite frankly, in reading his decision, it doesn't follow the law. It reads more of a decision based upon just what he wanted to see as an outcome, trying to find a decision to justify it based upon arguments that were made by the plaintiffs. So I understand what you're doing, but I just wanted to let everyone know that I do disagree with the ruling, and we're still reviewing, outcomes and what we may recommend to staff going forward. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mo. Okay, so ordinance 48 will be removed from the agenda. Okay, at this time, I'll open this question to the public. Anyone in the public wish to be heard on any agenda item only, please raise your hand and we'll allow you to the meeting.
No hands, Mayor.
No hands.
Oh, okay. Edward Grimes?
Edward Grimes.
Good evening. From what I understand, I didn't look at the agenda, but is there an ordinance or a resolution to give Sergio another $35,000 of taxpayer money for his legal defense? Is that what I'm hearing? If that's true, there's a lot more things that Dover needs than to spend money on that. So far, it's the running total is about $70,000 at that point. You could put a new handicap elevator in the building for that money. You can do a lot of things. You can fix some sidewalks in Dover. So I hope that's not the case. I just heard that may happen tonight. I didn't look at the agenda, but it seems like that may be happening. And I think more people should be outraged if that's the case. Thank you, sir.
Ordinance.
Maria Chacon?
Maria Chacon.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Hi. All right, I just heard Mr. Grimes bringing up, which I can't believe that's correct, the giving more money to Sergio Rodriguez. Sergio's leaving in December. We shouldn't have given him money in the first place. And I spoke to a constituent who said that they needed their roads paved. So I would imagine that, the claim that we never have money and that we're going to give money as a Christmas or going away present to Sergio to help him with his problems that he created himself would be a selfish, irresponsible action from the council people. I hope that's not true. And I also wanted to touch base on the other ordinances, which is about a whole bunch of developments that are happening in Dover. I imagine this is going to equate to the 1,000 apartments coming up. One of the things that I always ask is, are these pilots going to be at least 15-year pilots, not 30 years, because we'll all be dead by the time we get to enjoy the fruit of this big, gigantic pilot break that we give to these wealthy investors. Are we going to get anything back? Are they going to invest in our community? Are they going to invest in giving back to our schools? Are they going to help us build a new school? Are they going to help us with a new senior center that they're going to pay for? What are we going to get out of it besides us giving them land to make money of our town? Thank you.
Carol Ruiz?
Carol, please.
Intérprete, por favor.
Hello. Adelante, señor.
Sorry,
Ya está listo,
Ruiz, adelante.
ya está listo el tiempo y el intérprete o
Is it time for the interpreter ready?
Yes.
Yes. Sí.
y cuánto tiempo va a ser, porque creo que la última vez no sé si son 10 minutos o 6 minutos.
How much time do I have? Because 6 minutos.
6 minutes. You've been doing this for how many years now?
Ya llevamos
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Stay.
Minutos extra por lo de la traducción.
Veo la hora de 6:29, entonces voy a empezar ahora. Es
I'll start now. I know
necesario,
it's 6:39.
intérprete, ¿puedes esperar que yo pare para hablar, por favor?
Muy bien, igualmente.
Son las 6:29, voy a empezar de nuevo. Hay
I'll
una
start again.
ordenanza en la agenda sobre una aplicación llamada Piloto.
I want to talk about something on the agenda named pilot.
Hay varias ordenanzas día tras día sobre estas aplicaciones piloto que creo que muchos en nuestra comunidad no entendemos muy bien.
There are many ordinances regarding these pilots which the community doesn't understand very well.
Por supuesto, como todo en la vida, en moderación, un piloto puede ser un beneficio para una comunidad.
As is commonly known, these pilots could be a benefit for the community.
Como todo,
As
en
everything else,
moderación.
in moderation.
Nosotros en Dover ya tenemos como 8, 7, 6 pilotos en este momento. No sé si cualquiera ya ha cumplido a esta hora.
I think that here in Dover, we already have about 8 to 10 ordinances, or pilots. I don't know how many.
Y no hacemos sino proponer más y más y más.
And all we do is propose more and more.
Nuestro pueblito es pequeño.
We have a small town.
Tenemos parques, sí, pero no tenemos dónde estacionar.
We have parks, yes, but nowhere to park.
No tenemos piscina comunitaria ni parque para perros comunitario.
We don't have a community pool nor a park for dogs.
Ni siquiera tenemos un centro comunitario.
We don't even have a community center.
2 de los barrios tienen que compartir un sitio para votar.
2 boroughs need to share one voting place.
Entonces es más que obvio que no tenemos dónde desarrollar.
So it is very logic that we don't have a place to develop.
También nos hace falta vivienda asequible, pero no podemos dejar que nos manipulen con esa necesidad por vivienda asequible.
And we do need affordable homes, but we don't need this in order to get the affordable homes.
No necesitamos manipulación de la información.
We don't have the information. We don't need the information to be manipulated.
Podemos obtener viviendas asequibles sin pilotos para apartamentos lujosos de 30 años.
We should get these affordable homes without the need of these pilots for luxury homes.
Podemos atraer inversionistas como lo ha hecho Lecopacon, como lo ha hecho muchos municipios cercanos y lejos aquí en Nueva Jersey.
We could attract investors for luxury homes, as many other towns nearby have done,
Incluyendo el lago Opacon,
I'm sorry, perdón.
incluyendo el lago Opacon.
Oh, Lake Opaco, including Lake Opaco.
Esa comunidad empezó y sigue siendo una comunidad de personas de la clase de trabajadores.
That is a community of working people.
Y ahora también tienen muchos sitios lujosos,
They have a lot of luxury places.
y atraen visitantes para su comercio, para sus negocios.
And they do bring investors for their business.
Dover puede hacer lo mismo
Dover could do the same.
y tenemos la responsabilidad de hacer lo mismo.
And we have the responsibility to do the same.
Sin estas mentiras,
Without lies,
que nadie viene a Dover, que Dover es peligroso, que es sucio, que es feo.
lies like nobody comes to Dover and Dover is ugly or dangerous.
Nuestro departamento de policía,
Our police department
nuestro departamento de trabajos públicos,
and our public works department
nuestro departamento de bomberos,
and our fire department,
nuestros residentes, nuestros comerciantes, nuestras escuelas,
our residents, our business people, and the schools.
todos aportan para asegurar que Dover sea una comunidad
We all
bonita,
share
limpia y
for the benefit of the community. El tiempo ha terminado, Citón.
Robert Brannigan.
Bob Brannigan.
Mr. Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, I'm hearing a lot of objections about this $35,000 being paid to Sergio for his legal fees, even though that's a decision that I did not support, being that he was being represented by counsel previously to that and paying for his own legal fees. I do wonder why people are not complaining about the taxpayers having to pay $750,000 to Captain Newton, because he was bypassed for the chief's position when former Mayor Blackman appointed Delaney over him, even over the fact that Newton had seniority over Delaney. And but I don't hear anybody complaining about that. And, you know, when I worked in the post office, when a job became available, it was this person who was the senior bidder that got that position. But apparently, former Mayor Blackman didn't see fit to go that route. So I was just wondering why, as I said, people complaining about 35,000, even though that's not something to swallow at. But how come no one's complaining about the 750,000 that Captain Newton's going to get because he was bypassed for the chief's position when former Mayor Blackman appointed Delaney? That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
That's all at this time, Mayor.
Okay, seeing no hands, we close this portion.
Oh, you know what? One more hand. I apologize. So it says Town IT. I'm assuming this may be the library.
Someone from the library would like to speak?
Yes, good evening. It's Judy Rugg, 28 Audrey Place, Dover, New Jersey. This council has previously discussed and is on record that the 30-year pilot programs were no longer acceptable. Also, how could this town should receive something in return? As previously stated by another person tonight, we have no community center. I am here in the basement of our Dover Free Library to listen and to watch the meeting. Also, an exorbitant amount of money is proposed for us residents and taxpayers to pay for the current Ward 2 council member, Sergio Rodriguez, for the actions he had committed. The Constitution and the constituents have spoken loud and clear to all of us. Please, council, listen to the constituents. Listen and act in the correct manner, serving the constituents of Dover. Thank you.
Anyone else?
That's it at this point, Mayor.
I just want to comment on a couple of things. First, I'll start with the pilots. I think it's unfortunate that we had two previous council members who sat on this board, one being Carol Royce and one being Judith Rugg, who want to sit here and complete hypocrites. Both of you are complete hypocrites. And I say that because you sat on this council, you know what it is to give out pilots. The problem is that you want to portray to the public that pilots aren't good and that we're lying to the community. Well, let me explain to you. Your administration under Mayor Blackman negotiated the pilot program for Iron Ore. You negotiated the pilot for 80 East McFarland Street. In fact, when I came back in 2024, I opened that developers agreement back up again because you did not negotiate a community benefit. When I opened that benefit back up to Iron Ore, I sat on the planning board, I sat on this council. I brought them back to the table and I said, you will not, as long as I'm here as mayor, you will not get away with not giving anything back to the town of Dover. In fact, I was able to get from them a $500,000, $500,000 give back to the town of Dover to improve street lighting on Blackman Street. I was able to negotiate with them a $1.5 million drainage facility to alleviate the flooding at the intersection of Salem and Blackwell. So there is a community benefit, but you had the opportunity to negotiate that and you failed. I did it when I came back. You also negotiated a pilot for luxury apartments, 80 East McFarland Street on Route 46, which is a disaster. That building does not belong there. It's completely out of character, out of place. It's an apartment building on a state highway. It makes absolutely no sense. Nice building, wrong location. So it's unfortunate that you want to sit here and portray to the public that pilots are not a benefit to the community. And when we talk about schools, I want to be clear. Governor Murphy lifted the 2% cap on boards of education. In fact, this year, this governing body was hit with a 16% tax levy on the Board of Education. The school board tells the town council what the taxes are going to be contributed to the school system. We don't tell them. We're bound by law. If they come back to us and they say it's $15 million, guess what? The number is $15 million. So pilots are good for the school system because that pilot program is coming back into the general fund of the town of Dover or to wherever we allocate the money. And the community benefits are what this council negotiates. It's unfortunate that Mayor Blackman's council and administration didn't have the capability to negotiate a developer's agreement, but this council does because I negotiate with the developer. And there is a huge benefit to the town of Dover and the residents here. In fact, as we continue to move forward, every single project has a community benefit. Most of them now are per unit. So the more units they build, the more community give back they will provide. I think it's unfair to portray to the community and to the public that pilots are not good. In fact, I'm going to take a minute here because tonight we have these several ordinances on for pilots, and I want to now include our town planner and our redevelopment attorney, Alex Adarty, and Dean Donatelli to jump in. And I want you guys to take a minute because, I'll speak in layman's terms because I negotiate with these developers. I sit at the table, but you're the professionals. You understand pilots better, and hopefully you can explain it to the public so that when hypocritical comments come out, it's disputed. So, gentlemen, can you please jump in on pilots?
Certainly, Mayor. Dean, if I may just take a stab at it first. I wanted to say to the community that is attending and Mayor and Council, I'm very much aware of the sentiment about school-age children. I'm very much aware of the data that came out of Rutgers, which is only focused on New Jersey real estate. It's not Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas. It's a hyper-focused study on New Jersey real estate and school-age generated children. It's about as complex and as accurate as it can possibly be. We had Blaustein produce that, which is the School of Planning, and then we had Rutgers Real Estate Division, which also produced a secondary study, which is the hyper-focused one and most current one on school-age children. I will say I'm very aware of the issues, especially as Mary, you mentioned, the tax levy that was increased for the school. We're not here to produce school-age children. We want to give back to community by bringing underutilized property that has little to no real intrinsic value to the community as a whole or underperforms, things that can turn the community around and bring disposable income to the businesses downtown, which I gotta say, Dover's got a strong downtown. A lot of downtowns across the U.S. Aren't so lucky as Dover. We don't have too many vacancies in our downtown, but at the end of the day, businesses need to grow. They need to thrive. Rents are only going up. Taxes are only going up. Cost of goods and services and payroll are only going up. A town is a business. It needs to grow. We're trying to grow smart and sustainable by only focusing redevelopment in the downtown area. This is not redevelopment in your neighborhoods and residential streets. This is your downtown area. And I think we can all collectively agree there are many properties in the downtown area that are underutilized and underperformed. And these are the redevelopment areas we're looking to do. As far as some of the community givebacks and concerns, I am actively looking to partner and encourage those who want to invest in the town to find us that parking deck, to find us that community center, to find us that new town hall. And that it does come through redevelopment process, through the pilot programs. One thing I will say is Dean Donatelli is very attuned with our tax assessors, with the pro formas. If our properties are producing X amount in ad valorem taxes today, the pilot has to outperform what the town is going to get today. Because, Mayor, to your point, when the school budget is passed by the state, you have to pay that bill irrespective of what your budget is. That pilot money does essentially, if you don't have the revenue to pay it, you're going to use that pilot money to pay the school. I will say, I do work in code enforcement. I'm not seeing the address verification for the schools. I don't know how the school is busting out at the seams when the last redevelopment project here is Meridia and 1 Thompson. I don't know where all the school-age children are coming from. I do know code enforcement is actively every week finding properties that are overcrowded, there are children involved with the overcrowding conditions. These redevelopment projects are tailored for 1 and 2 bedrooms, so we can find homes of suitable homes for anyone who is living in unsafe in conditions, as well as bring in a population that's going to support and merge with the Dover community by way of living in the downtown. Some of these redevelopment projects might be tight on parking. We are actively opening the new parking program where if they need a parking permit, it's again revenue for the town. If you come to Dover and you live in these apartment complexes, you have a car and you need more parking, the town will get that revenue through the parking permit. I'm not trying to short side the town through redevelopment. I'm very transparent on what these redevelopment projects are. I can stand behind them. I do not have a vote as far as the redevelopment, but I have a keen eye for redevelopment, and so does Dean Donatelli when it comes to the pilots, when it comes to the RDAs and the community benefits. Those are all outlined in the RDA. It's based on a unit percentage. So if you come in with 100 units, and we're negotiating anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 per community benefit obligation per unit, we're going to outline where that money's spent to that rec center, and clean up the streets, new street lights, street trees, to a jitney program, to whatever that cost may be that we can agree upon how that money will be spent. But I can assure you, the redevelopment is a benefit to the town of Dover. And truthfully, most of this property is in the hands of private development and private ownership. And when somebody acquires it for an exorbitant amount of cost and they want to turn this project over to something viable, we also have to be sensitive to, is this project going to perform? Can we encourage the developer to trust and build in Dover and invest this money in Dover without going belly up and it's foreclosed, or we see a project that's still under construction and never gets complete because money dried up? There's a lot of moving parts to this, but redevelopment is a good thing, and pilots certainly bring with it a benefit, and that money at a pilot will be spent within the community, whether it's growing a department, whether it's providing services for the community, finding that community center. That's what the pilot revenue is for. And again, if the school budget is passed by the state and it comes back to the town, it's $50 million, $15 million, and you need to tap in as administration to meet that obligation, you're going to pull in to that pilot fund. But that money goes back into the community. That's really what I have to say about the pilot. It's an incentive for developers to come into a market that really isn't a AAA market. It's not a Morristown, it's not a Hoboken. These are untested waters this far west. And at the end of the day, some of these projects are large and they need a little incentive to come in. But I assure you, the money that comes from that pilot is outperforming the current ad valorem tax. And with that, I'll kick
I'll say this. Yeah, I want to take a minute because I think it's important. I was, and that I can be difficult when we're sitting at a table with developers in negotiation. The thing I want to bring to people's attention, I had a developer say to me that it's hard to build in a town like Dover. There's A towns, there's B towns, and there's C towns. If you go to an A town, it costs the same amount of money to build a project in an A town as you do in a C town. The difference is the rents that come in. In an A town, you might get $3,500 for a 2-bedroom. In a C town, this is from developers, you may get $2,000 rental back. So with the cost of construction and the cost of these projects to build today, there has to be a return on investment. We met with Alex, we met with a developer yesterday, in fact, major developer that came in and gave us a forma and showed us exactly what the project would cost. And I'll throw the number out there. It was $254 million to build the project. And he was running on a 3% margin, 2.5 to 3% margin. They cannot build a project on a 2.5 to 3% margin. If you're going to invest $250 million, you could get 10% of your money in bank. You don't need to go out and take that huge risk. There's a huge risk when you come in and you start to spend $50, $100, $200 million on a project. So there has to be a return on investment. It's the ABCs of redevelopment. But I think it's important for the public to understand that we are not here to sell out the town to developers. We are here to get a benefit to the town from these developers, and whether it's a new community center, whether it's a parking deck, whatever it might be, we are negotiating that with all of these RDAs.
And I want to say, Mayor, to your point about A ratings and C ratings, it also is the interest you get in your loans as well. That also plays a factor. But I will say, I had this conversation many times. I had one recently earlier today. With all due respect, Dover was the king on the mountain many years ago. I want to bring that back, that economic growth, that development. We look to other towns for shared services and support. In my opinion, these towns should be coming to Dover. I'm trying to bring back that Dover pride, if you will, to reclaim that king on top of the mountain. This is the last stop going west with a direct New York Transit line to Manhattan. This town has great potential. Developers see it, they know it, but again, we're not where we need to be. These projects, as you said, and I believe that developer also was coming out of pocket nearly $50 million of his own money because he believes that Dover long term is a sure bet. But right now, how do you encourage a developer to come out of pocket $250 million to develop in a town that's going to bring you a brand new parking decks, and there's no incentive otherwise to do so? Because, like you said, he could take that money and go elsewhere. But I will say, for purposes of this conversation, the overall redevelopment and pilot, the money goes back to the community.
All right, just Dean, do you want to add anything? But keep it very brief, because it just seems to me like we're falling upon deaf ears. I apologize, guys, because I continue to ask you to explain to the public what pilots do for our community and what benefit they have. But it seems like we're preaching to the choir here, because it's the same individuals that continue to come up here and say how bad pilots are when they had an opportunity to negotiate the pilots and failed to do so. When you look at the Sportsplex complex that they negotiated, that is probably the worst, absolute worst pilot I've ever seen in my life. I don't think anybody could fail that bad, but yet they did. And so we are not those people negotiating these pilots, and we will never let that happen.
And real quick, Dean, before you jump in, the pilot, let's talk about a big redevelopment project coming in. As soon as they get the CO, they're going to get taxed at full ad valorem tax, and they don't even have the occupancy in there. You know what I mean? So it does help.
You know what, Alex, I'm going to stop you there for a second, because I changed that. If you recall, we sat in these meetings and we said, when you get a CO, you're going to pilot's going to start. That's not true anymore.
But I'm saying, if we don't put in the pilot.
Now we have a drop dead date. We no longer wait for COs. If you don't have that project done by a drop dead date, you are going to start to pay that pilot whether the project is complete or not. And if you don't pay it, we put a deed restriction on it.
Right, I understand. I'm running a scenario. If there's no pilots on the table and they build a big redevelopment project like the Meridia, and they're going to get hit with full ad valorem tax with no occupancy in that building. And that's where these projects become belly up.
But even if they're not completed now, they pay a pilot if it's not completed by the drop dead.
Do you have anything to add?
So yes, good evening, Council. For the record, my name is Dean Donatelli. I'm the redevelopment attorney for the town, and I think it's probably best for me to speak with regard to a specific matter on the agenda. And I could kind of quote numbers, I could cite numbers for you relative to that ordinance, which is on for first reading. So normally we wouldn't have a presentation, but I can give you the specifics on that project and point out to you what the financial benefits are and what the community benefits are. That happens to be ordinance item D in the ordinances, and there's also a redevelopment agreement on the resolution section. I mean, putting those two things together, Mayor, I think that might, rather than talk in the abstract, I could talk specifically regarding regarding that development.
That's fine, Dean. Just try to be brief because there's really, again, we're just preaching to the choir.
Can I just say a couple words before this? Because I don't think this is necessary, Dean. My comments to all of this is I don't think any of this conversation for the past 15 minutes has been completely unnecessary. And what I'm trying to say here is that we keep doing this every single time. And so we need to stop because, like the mayor said, it's all on deaf ears. And my message to Maria Chacon and Carol Ruiz, you guys got to stop. Like, it's come to a point where we are literally just repeating the same things over and over, pilot after pilot. Everything you say, you literally say at every single meeting, and then we repeat everything, and it's just the same. Please stop. Maria Chacon, Carol Rose, your concerns are valid. Nobody is saying that your concerns are invalid. They're very valid. All those concerns we all have up here, and we're all fighting for those same concerns. If you think about it, we're on the same team, Carol Ruiz and Maria Chacon. So what I'm asking of you guys, please, because listen, my time is done here, and I'm kind of glad for it because this is horrible. But my message to you guys is please stop it. Come to town hall during the week. Sit down with Alex. He will make the time for you both. He will take those concerns and he will update you as to how we are fighting for those concerns. Because that's what we're doing every single day. Our professionals are doing that every single day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. So please, can we stop this for the sake of the community? Please just come together, come and sit down with our professionals, and let's get on the same page because we are all on the same page. But this whole thing, guys, has to stop. To the financials that Dean is trying to say, I've been saying, let's publish those financials up. So let's just stop talking about it.
So, Mr. Councilman Rodriguez, I will say something new that hasn't really been said. I'm in those meetings, and I will say that the mayor does negotiate like I've never seen with these developers. Just when I think I've gotten everything out of the developer, we sit down, I bring a redevelopment project forward, and the mayor's renegotiating on better terms that I didn't think was possible. So I will say, again, these redevelopment projects, these pilots, these community benefit fees, you have a mayor who knows what redevelopment is, who can negotiate better terms. And I don't have the power to speak for the town and what that is, but I will tell you, the mayor's not letting any redevelopment come into town if it doesn't benefit by way of a community benefit and if those pilots do not generate more income than otherwise as it currently stands. So I will say the negotiations at the table are strong. And I do agree with you. We've talked about it once or twice in the past. We can put a graph together that show what the ad valorem tax is today and what this pilot generates for the community that can be spent within our community. So again, you want those roads paved? This is how we get this stuff done at large scale with this kind of pilot money.
All right, thanks, Alex. Let's just move on because we're being the village. Okay, thank you, Dean. We'll catch up to you in a little bit.
Sure.
That was it for the moment.
There's
Okay, no one was pushed to the public on the Torah ordinances for first reading. Ordinance 47, 2025, an ordinance of the mayor and council of town of Dover, County of the State of New Jersey, adopting the redevelopment plan for the properties designated as Block 1804, Block 13 on the official tax map of the town.
Councilmember Estacio,
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Santana,
Yes.
Councilmember Scarnio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia,
Yes.
Councilmember Toro,
Yes.
Councilmember Velez,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Dodd.
Yes. We have ordinance 49, 2025, an ordinance establishing the minimum and maximum range for salary compensation for certain officers and employees in the town of Dover.
Mayor, I'd like to actually, pull this ordinance. We received this at 5:39 PM. I would say 20 minutes before the meeting started is not enough time to review. While this redevelopment discussion was happening, I was trying to compare to last year's salary ordinance and the new ones for this year. I haven't even got through it, so I can imagine everybody else.
So, this came from Vicky, and what was your purpose of that, please?
What happens is, this is required for our, insurances in order for our deductibles to stay low. They wanted this to be on the agenda today. All we did with last year's ordinance to this ordinance is do a 3% increase.
Across the board.
And it's across the board and just change some of the time. Across the board, 3%. What we did. It's exactly across the board.
There are some that have not been increased. I've gone through the previous
Yeah,
ordinance.
and these are not increased, are not positions that are good. Anybody that is working right now, position, we want to go to 12%.
So. He loves with this, Director of Municipal Services and Public Works, that's filled, yes. Director of Recreation, that's filled. Inspectors, maintenance workers, mechanics, police.
So listen, if this is required by the insurance company today, and there's something else that needs to be changed, we have an opportunity to change it again, correct? It's not the end of the world. If we adopt this tonight to satisfy the deductible for the insurance company, then if we find something in there, we'll go back and bring back, we'll bring it back.
Yeah, we can also talk to Vicky, which I got her on the line, we need to talk to Vicky, our HR, which we work on this thing. And we make sure that any position that is currently active, 3% across the board. And then we also make sure titles are updated, and we make sure that if there's any future position, those are here listed.
Alright, so we'll, if we have to change in the future, we'll change it. Requirements today, no problem, I'll make that machine. And motion second, roll call please.
Councilmember Fazio?
Yes.
Yes. Councilmember Santana?
Yeah.
Councilmember Scarnio?
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia? Councilmember Toro? Yes. Councilmember Velez? Yes. Councilmember Whitner? Yes. Mayor Dodd?
Yes. Ordinance 50, 2025, an ordinance in the town of Dover County and Morris State, New Jersey, approving the pilot application and authorizing the mayor and town clerk to execute a financial agreement with JR Asset Urban Renewal LLC for property designated as block 1205, lot 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the official tax map of town of Dover. Normally, we just introduce them as part of the public hearing, we discuss it, but if we want to discuss it, you can. Alex, you still on?
Yes, I'm here.
Alex and me.
They don't go there second reading when you discuss the
Yeah. Well, but if you're not a specific question,
You're trying to, obviously this, group of lots needs to be redeveloped. I'm not doubting that at all. Do you have any insight on what, benefits are being offered to the community as part of this pilot?
I couldn't hear you, Miss Whitner.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't speaking here next to the microphone. Not at all doubting that this, project needs to be done. Just wondering if you have any insight on some of the, community benefits we might see from this particular.
So, there's another one on this agenda as well. If you recall the last hearing, when we talked about the overall Bassett Highway redevelopment plan, there's a lot of public improvements. So the community benefit, and Dean has the RDA, and he's negotiated the RDA, but from my understanding, the community benefit fees will go towards enhancing and manifesting our vision for the Bassett Highway, redevelopment vision plan. It typically go towards, a greater off-track improvement for the community as a whole.
Yeah, Councilwoman, let me give you some detail. Can you hear me okay? It's Dean Donatelli here.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
so there are two pieces to this redevelopment. The first one you're considering now, which is the ordinance to approve the financial agreement. Later on in the agenda, there's a redevelopment agreement. In the redevelopment agreement is where we lay out what the community benefit fees are. But I'm going to take a moment to explain to you the financial agreement. Please stop me if I'm going into too much detail. The project is 52 units. It's a mix of, there are several 3-bedrooms, but mostly two bedrooms, 1-bedrooms, and studios, and weighted heavily towards 1-bedrooms and studios. The property now, and if you want to take notes in the public, you can, because I want to try to deal with some of the questions that were raised or comments that were made. The property now generates $33,000 total for all 4 lots. It's 4 separate lots. There are existing buildings there. This is a rehabilitation project. I think there's existing 48 units, and there are 44 units, and they're increasing the number to 52 units. So it's an existing building being rehabbed. Currently pays $33,000 a year in taxes. In year 3 of stabilization, the project under the pilot, the town will receive $135,000 net. That's everything goes to the town in pilot revenue. That's $135,000 in pilot revenue to the town in year 3 under the pilot. If we did not grant the pilot and the project were built anyway, which it wouldn't be, but if we assume that it would be built, the town would receive $123,000. So if you do the math, that's $12,000 less the town would receive than it would receive under the pilot. Over the 30 years, it's a 30-year pilot, the town receives $1,240,000 more under a pilot scenario than under a non-pilot scenario. That is, if the project were built, but which it would not be, but if it were built and no pilot were granted, the town would receive under the pilot $1.24 million more. In terms of the community benefit fees, Councilwoman, that's under the financial agreement, which I just described to you. Under the redevelopment agreement, which is on the resolution part of your agenda, the developer must build a project in 3 years. If they don't, this is what the mayor was getting at earlier when he negotiated. If they don't, and the project is delayed, and the town is not receiving the pilot revenue that was anticipated, the developer pays additional amounts to extend the completion date of the project, because we want things built here. That's the goal. So that's the extension payments. Those are $20,000 for 3 months, for a total of $80,000 to extend the project completion date for a year. In addition to that, $66,000 is paid to the town as a community benefit fee to go with what Alex was referring to, roadway improvements, street improvements, safety, flooding mitigation. So the project developer pays $66,000, half of that at building permit. That's $33,000 at building permit, and $33,000 at CO. So those are the numbers. I just want to add a couple of things. So those are what the town is getting in return. One question was raised is, why don't we do 20 years versus 30 years? And I know we've said this before, that the pilot rate increases over the term of the pilot. In this case, the first 10 years, it's 10% of annual gross revenue. The second 10 years, years 11 to 20 is 11%, and the last 10 years is 12%. So the town is making more money the longer the pilot goes. If you shorten it, the town would still come out ahead, but in the long run, the town makes more with a longer pilot. And one thing I wanted to add, and this is more of a general comment, is developers, when they come to a town, they really look, and I know the comments that were made by the public, and many of the members of the public know the town much better than I do. but developers come in, they really want to look for certainty. They want to know when they come before the council on day one for whatever it is, the project, the first step is, which we've gone through before, but whatever that first step is, they want to know that they're going to get from step 1 to step 10, because they're going to be investing a lot of dollars on soft costs, design, development, due diligence, a financial analysis. So the more uncertainty there is in the eyes of the developer, the town is, for lack of a better way to put it, we're hurting ourselves, because if a developer sees, some people say I want this, some people say I don't want that, I don't know what I want, the developer is going to say, well, you know what, I'm going to go to a town where they know what they want. I'm going to invest my dollars in this town and know that I'm going to get to the finish line and produce what I think is a win-win. Town gets the development and the developer gets, their return on their investment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kelly.
Sure.
Okay.
Mayor, if I could just ask one question on that. I just want to thank the councilwoman for asking that question. That was a very valid question, and thank you, Dean, for the response. But I guess my question would be to the councilwoman that asked that same question was, what was the community benefits that we got for the other pilots approved under Blackman?
Well, I voted pretty much against all of them, so.
Well, listen, I don't think we need to go down the road. We've been down the road. The bottom line is that there weren't. That's the bottom line. There weren't any community givebacks. And I think that's why Sandra's asking the question. And I can assure you that, it's amazing. But when you start to talk about soft cost stuff, and I'm going to go back to the iron ore project, because we have a blighted site down there now where we're trying to get the developer to build the project. When I came back in 2024, that project had been in front of this council 7 times. 7 times. Every time you come back in front of the council, there's a lot of soft costs involved, and you touched on that, Dean. You have your engineers, you have your planners, you have your architects, you have traffic studies. This is a snowball effect on these developers. Developers are not going to come to a town if they know they have to come to a board of adjustment, planning board, or a town council 10 times. It's not going to happen. You could rack up millions and millions of dollars, and iron ore is the classic project that happened to. By the time I came back and got the approval on that project, it's an $85 million project. You cannot do that project with private equity. You must go out and get the funding for that project. Unfortunately, that $85 million dried up, and that's why we don't have a project now at the corner of Salem and Blackwell. We are currently soliciting new developers to come in, purchase that property, and make that project come to fruition. But you cannot drag your feet when it comes to redevelopment, because somebody else is going to take that developer away from you and bring it to another town. It's that simple. We need to be aggressive on it. And the last thing I'm going to touch on in redevelopment, when you look at these pilots, the progressive increase of 10, 11, 12, when you look at those numbers now, Dean, you're not looking at that same number 30 years from now. And I say this consistently. $1 million today is not $1 million 30 years from now. It depends on the growth of money at that currency at that point, but $1 million today could certainly be worth 1.5 or $2 million. So those numbers continue to grow on that gross revenue. So this is a win-win for the town. All these pilots are. Okay, we have a motion and a second on Ordinance 50. Roll call, please.
Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Cardio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia, Councilmember Toro, Councilmember Velez,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Dodd.
Abstain. Ordinance 51, 2025, an ordinance of the mayor and town council of Town of Dover County, March State, New Jersey, amending chapter 236, land use and development, the code of the Town of Dover by establishing a historic preservation commission. Make a motion, second roll call, please.
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia,
Yes.
Councilmember Toro, Councilmember Velez, Councilmember Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Dodd.
Yes. Okay, we have approval of bills list, resolution 288, 2022. Show a second.
My usual. Page 28, 5-02738. It's a reimbursement for the SOA of PBA Local 107. So it's for a flight, a car, a hotel, and this for one of our like higher officers, I'm guessing.
It was for one of our lieutenants, but we,
What was the trip?
one of the conferences.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then backtracking to page 19. Scroll up myself, I brought my laptop, so basically. Page 19, two purchase orders at the bottom, 25-02903. Special counsel for the law office of Edward Blankus in the amount of $32,500. And purchase order 25-02902. Invoice for the law office of Christopher Danger, sorry. And that's the amount of $9,225. Pursuant to resolutions 114-2025 and 113-2025. I would like those to move separately.
So it's 25-02903 and 02902.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so on the bills list, voted on the entire bills list with the exception of 25-02902 and 90. Motion and second. Roll call.
Councilmember Thacia,
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Santana,
Yes.
Councilmember Scarnio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia,
Yes.
Councilmember Toro,
Yes.
Councilmember Velez, Councilmember Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Dodd.
Stay. Okay, we'll have resolution. It's 25-02902. I will make that motion. Roll call.
Councilmember Thacia,
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Stay.
Councilmember Santana, Councilmember Scarnio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia,
No.
Councilmember Toro,
Yes.
Councilmember Velez,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitner,
No.
Mayor Dodd.
Yes. 25-0290. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Estacio,
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Stay.
Councilmember Santana, Councilmember Scarnio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia, Councilmember Toro, Councilmember Velez, Councilmember Whitner,
No.
Mayor Dodd.
Yes. Let me just say, obviously it passed. I'm still gonna make comments on this. I still am a firm believer that Sergio was a target of the Dover Police Department. I'll say it publicly. The day that this initially happened, I was called into the office when the altercation occurred on Blackwell Street. I want the public to understand this. Because I've said it could happen to any one of us sitting on this council. And it's wrong what happened. When I was called into the office by the chief of police, I was told that Sergio Rodriguez was going to be charged with assault. And I asked a simple question, are you going to charge the other individual? And the answer was no, we're not. And I honestly believe that this occurred because Sergio continued to call the police department to address the concerns in the Meridia project. Had Sergio not called, the outcome would have been different. Sergio became a target, as it's clear to me, and I believe that the town of Dover had an obligation to defend him. The hypocrisy in this town runs rampant. We sit here and complain. We had council members, we had council member Whitner sit up here. We had council member Judith Rugg sit up here and vote to promote Chief Delaney, Captain Delaney to chief, knowing that Bill Newton was a superior officer, resulting in a $750,000 settlement to Captain Newton. So you can sit up here and you can say, yeah, $30,000 is a lot of money to defend a councilman. Well, what I believe became a target. But not one person is sitting up here complaining that the taxpayers spent $750,000 to appoint a chief knowing it was wrong. Knowing that Captain Newton was a superior officer. So the hypocrisy runs deep. You can sit here and throw darts, but you should look in the mirror because it's very clear to me that whatever the outcome is now. We know, and we're going to do our best for the benefit of this town as a whole. But it's very difficult when we have individuals sit here and criticize other people for exactly what they did. And it's unfortunate. We also have a former councilwoman that's coming up here that will be sitting up here in July that collected a paycheck sitting in this town as a councilwoman while she was on workers' comp. That's illegal in the state of New Jersey. And unfortunately, nothing was done by the previous council, but I can assure you, when Councilwoman Rugg gets back up here, I will do something about it because it's corruption at its worst. And so we can sit here tonight and we can complain about spending taxpayer money to defend a councilman, but I want to know how you would feel if it was any one of you that were in his shoes and that occurred. Because it was not right, it was wrong, we're going to put it behind us and we're going to move on for the benefit of our community. But I think the right thing to do tonight was to settle this. The first case was dismissed, and the second two look very promising to be hopefully dismissed as well. And if in fact that's the case, and I know I can't go into details of it, if in fact that's the case, I then hope people realize what was done here.
Mayor, just to correct it for the record, the second case was dismissed. And I just want to make it also clear for the record, the facts is that not one individual or resident of the town of Dover, this community, has ever charged me of any wrongdoing. The only charging that has ever been done is by the Dover Police Department. And that is the only reason why all of this would fall under my duties of a councilman. Because if one person from the community would have charged me, it would have been a different story. But only the Dover Police Department charged me. And like the mayor said, they were selective in their charging.
Thank you for clarifying that. I think it's important for the public to really understand. It's easy to just sit here and complain, but I don't hear one person like Bob Brannigan said earlier tonight, not one person that sat on this council sat up here when Captain Newton was awarded $750,000 for not being promoted when he should have been. Let's move on. Going to our consent agenda resolutions, Resolution 289 approving annual billiard ball license for Celebrity Bar, and Resolution 290 approving a social affair permit for customer. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Estacio,
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Santana,
Yes.
Councilmember Scarnio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia,
Yes.
Councilmember Toro,
Yes.
Councilmember Velez,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Dodd.
Yes. Resolution 291, ending the contract with Crossroads Paving for the Small Cities Road Construction Project. Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Estacio,
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Santana,
Yes.
Councilmember Scarnio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia,
Yes.
Councilmember Toro,
Yes.
Councilmember Velez,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Dodd.
Yes, resolution 292, authorizing the discharge of mortgage of the rehabilitation program with public being McElwain. Roll call.
Councilmember Estacio,
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Santana,
Yes.
Councilmember Scarnio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia, Councilmember Toro,
Yes.
Councilmember Velez, Councilmember Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Dodd.
Yes, resolution 9325, designating West Morris OSDF Property Development Corporation 2 LLC as redevelopment of certain property in the town and authorizing the execution of a redevelopment agreement with West Morris OCF Property Development Company 2 LLC for redevelopment of certain property in the town. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Estacio,
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Santana,
Yes.
Councilmember Scarnio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia,
Yes.
Councilmember Toro, Councilmember Velez, Councilmember Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Dodd.
Yes, resolution 294/2025 designating Terra Holdings LLC as redevelopment town authorizing the execution of a redevelopment agreement with JRS Holdings LLC for redevelopment of certain properties.
So,
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Thacia,
yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Santana,
Yes.
Councilmember Scarnio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia,
Yes.
Councilmember Toro, Councilmember Velez,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Dodd.
Abstain. 95/2025 adoption of amendments to the town's employee.
Mayor, are the amendments to the end?
Can keep it on.
Ordinance basically returns from the updates. They have not been updated since about 2018. So it was necessary to get the updates done before the end of the year. So we just got it back from council earlier today. And that's why we put it on the agenda. Basically updated every basically a lot of what was there and things that were no longer pertaining. Basically the attorney just got the solution.
So the handbook was updated in 2023. When it was updated, the council each received a copy well in advance of the meeting to review the changes. So I don't know what changes we are approving because they are not listed on this resolution.
Vicky, would you like to talk about that? We just got the updates right here today.
Chair, could we do it on the 9th? Is there a deadline that we need to worry about?
This will be up to the year. Vicky, can you unmute yourself and let us know?
Yes, I'm on. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I was told this afternoon that we had to put this on the agenda to avoid higher copays. So that's why I have a red line edition that I can certainly share with everybody.
Is this, why was it on the agenda to avoid increased co-pays for the employees?
For the town.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Madam
So
Chair,
that's why there was a rush on it.
I assume it's related to our liability insurance.
That's correct.
What was that? They will have anybody else's. So if we update this today, and there's an issue that needs to be addressed, we can amend it? Is that accurate?
Yes.
So there's no harm in updating it today, and if there's something that you, same thing as the other one, Sanders, something else that you come up with? Yeah, I don't have an issue. All right, so that's what we'll do. We have a motion and a second, and if it needs to be amended, we amend it. You know, if we find out today that the insurance was an issue, then we have to address it. We have an issue, right? Yeah. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Thacia, Councilmember Rodriguez, Councilmember Santana,
Yes.
Councilmember Scarnio,
Yes.
Councilmember Tapia,
Yes.
Councilmember Toro, Councilmember Velez,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitner,
Yes.
Mayor Dodd.
Yes. Okay, any other new business bills, please?
Just ask that new business is, I've gotten some residents' concerns on Liberty Street and speeding. And Liberty Street, as you know, is one of those crossovers, and it's a very hill. It's a very big hill. So on the way down, they catch speed. So I was wondering what kind of process can we start to see if we can evaluate that street and any speed calming devices will.
Actually, I think Liberty's on the schedule to be paid next year, isn't it?
Liberty's
Well, is that, yeah, that was just paid. So yeah, if it was just paid, then there's gonna be speed bumps.
There's gonna be speed bumps?
Yeah, I spoke to Villas about any of those streets up in that area that would get speed humps for.
Okay, great.
Yes, they will absolutely get it. Self-service.
Just for, I guess, clarification, since that's a hill, where obviously speed bumps go to the bottom, look, where it finds out.
Right, there's definitely criteria with DOT regulations that they can only be placed in certain locations. There's I don't know the percentage of incline. You can put them in the hills, as you know, in your ward, we have them on Berry Street or in the hill. I don't know, the very steep part, I doubt it, but they'll there's a certain, percentage rate that you, but Bill has all that stuff.
Well, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, at this time, I'll open this portion for the public on any item, and should ready, please raise your hand.
All right, we're gonna start with TC McCourt.
TC McCourt.
Good evening, TC McCourt, 32 Davis Avenue. I'm so glad, Mayor, that you mentioned again your displeasure with the prior administration's hiring of Chief Delaney. I'm curious because I've never heard this mentioned, and maybe you know because I don't. I'm curious if we're ever going to hear, for instance, how Chief Delaney and Captain Newton both scored on their exams. I'm curious if, that went into the decision to hire Chief Delaney over Captain Newton. I'm wondering if there was any reasons behind that. I would certainly expect there to be, because I would not be happy with any elected official who did something that went afoul of policy, regulation, or law, regardless of who they were, whether I supported them or not. So I think that's an important clarification that we should probably make going forward, so that the public knows exactly why it was that Chief Delaney was chosen over anybody else. And perhaps once that's disclosed, the mayor can finally let the public know why it is he would have preferred someone else over Chief Delaney. Secondly, Mayor, I have to commend you on your unfailing loyalty to Councilmember Rodriguez. It is truly admirable. I think it is something that others could learn from. You certainly have continued to live the phrase that you uttered to me immediately after the first incident, which is that you never kick a man while he's down. So good for you, Mayor. I'm sure Sergio will appreciate that loyalty going forward when the council continues to have to approve his legal bills when he's no longer a member of council.
All right. Next up is going to be Maria Chacon.
Maria Chacon.
Hello, could you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I feel so disappointed that that we're actually going to be paying for Sergio Rodriguez's legal fees even after he's gone. I feel that he's very, very lucky that he has a mayor that in his board that approves this on our backs, because we are going to be paying, we the taxpayers, the homeowners, will be paying for his legal fees for something that he got charged for. So I'm just going to read what he was charged for as part of my statement. Dover councilman charged with criminal coercion. This is from the Morris County Prosecutor's Office. Morris County Prosecutor Robert Carroll and Chief of Detectives Robert McNally announced that Sergio Rodriguez, 29 of Dover, has been charged with criminal coercion, a crime of the fourth degree, following an investigation by the Morris County Prosecutor's Office. Rodriguez, who is a member of the Town of Dover Council, is alleged to have identified himself as a public official in order to intimidate a liquor store owner and employee into seizing the sales of alcohol to specific individuals. Rodriguez is alleged to have entered the Dover business on October 25th, 2024, informing an employee that the store's liquor license would not be renewed if they continued to sell alcohol to individuals seen drinking in a nearby courtyard. The business owner spoke to Rodriguez at a later time, and during that conversation, Rodriguez allegedly reiterated that he was a councilman and could prevent the renewal of their liquor license if the owner did not comply with his demands. So This is a charge on the 4th degree criminal coercion in violation of NJSA 2C 13-5. Now, with this, you still want to go down in flames. And I mean, you're going to lose the next elections because of this. People are mad because of this. Sergio lost because of this. Judy won because of this. Chris won because of this. Daniela won because of this. And everything else that you're doing. So I beg you to do what's best for the community, not for Rescue Dover. Thank you.
Ray Hayaduka.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'll be brief. I just want to comment on Chief Delaney's selection as chief. While I have nothing negative to say about Captain Newton, here's some facts that I'm going to point out. Captain Newton was hired approximately 2 years before him. However, they were Chief Delaney, and at the time, obviously, they were both patrolmen, were promoted to sergeant on the very same day. Ironically, they were promoted to lieutenant on the very same day. They were both promoted to captain on the same day. And they had a tie on the civil service exam. Now, in a civil service town, the appropriate authority has a 1 in 3 rule. So they could select who they deem appropriate. There could be a variety of reasons why, maybe the training file, past performance, or maybe it was just a better interview. But they're well within their rights to pick one out of 3 of the eligible candidates. It's not a promotion list; it's an eligibility list. And at the time, they could select who they deem is best suited to serve in that position. I've never heard anyone say why Chief Delaney wasn't the best selection. In addition, he is a very good chief. He has the support of the state chiefs. I think it's time for everyone to sit down, reevaluate what's going on, and see how this could be repaired. You need to support your police chief. You need to support your police officers. You have some fine men and women serving that agency. Constantly knocking them, it's just not doing anything for anyone. I think this could be worked out, and I think now all this litigation seems to be at least stopped temporarily, needs to be worked out. So thank you for your time. Have a good evening and a great Thanksgiving.
Next up is going to be Robert Brannigan.
Mr. Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, first of all, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to wish you and the council and your administration and all the town employees and everybody listening virtually a very happy and blessed Thanksgiving. Also, I'd like to give a special recognition to our town clerk, Tara. As some of you may or may not know, she's soon as expecting her 3rd child. And she will soon be departing her position to begin her maternity leave. I think that the job that she has is nobody else would be able to do it as best as she can. It's not an easy job to run the office in a professional and smooth manner like she does, as well as deal with employees of the town. I've seen her on election night trying to pull her hair out, trying to match results from each district, election results. The floor looks like Wall Street at the closing of the day. And I think she certainly deserves a special recognition and perhaps maybe even a round of applause as she begins her maternity leave. She is a complete asset for the town, and we hope that she will return soon. Also, Mr. Mayor, we all know that one of the benefits of having you as mayor is because you're a business owner, you know how to negotiate. President Trump once wrote a book called The Art of the Deal, and perhaps you should write an Art of the Deal Part 2. On that, everybody have a happy and blessed Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is going to be the library.
Speaker from the library.
Yes.
State your name. Dominic Timpany. Can you hear me?
Yes.
How we doing tonight, Mayor, Council? I just wanted to thank Alex for his presentations. I mean, he does a great job. I mean, if I was young and single, I think I'd go get one of those apartments down there. But when you were speaking about the redevelopment, you broke it down in three categories, A, B, and C. I would assume A would be something like Jersey City, Hoboken. C would be something further out this way. I'll put Dover as D for Dover, not that Dover is less than anybody else. But with that being said, Dover has a stacking problem. And we want to keep building places. And he turned around and he explained in the downtown area, he wanted to eliminate cars because we have transit, we have trains, buses, taxis. And that's a great idea for 1-2 bedroom apartments. But in reality, it's not going to work in Dover. You know it's not going to work in Dover. And that's why we have a hard time bringing developers in Dover. Perfect example, the Meridian building, 1-2 bedrooms. We have 5 people living in one. Okay, he's on your board, Sergio Rodriguez, at the Meridian. That's stacking. Your own council member. And how dare you speak about the other administration and calling out people? It's just wrong. And I really hope you would change. With that being said, happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you all have a nice holiday. Good night.
I believe we have one more from the library.
Is there someone else in the library?
Yeah, hi, Dennis Tui, 23 Passaic Street, Dover. I want to touch on the existing pilots, not the future pilots. Who's in charge in town to collect the money that supposedly we have 7 pilots? And when I looked at the budget going back, it only showed that Meridian and Gunther paid what they paid. It didn't show what the other 5 were paying. And I think it would kind of cure things if that dollar figure for all 7 pilots was made available for people to see the money that was collected. It seems like it's ghost money. Like nobody knows what was collected, what was it put forward to, and things of that nature. And I think that would kind of maybe put people at ease to see the monies that is collected. And also, I think going forward, that these builders should pay per unit, whether they're occupied or not occupied. Because I think my belief is now they only pay the percentage on the occupied apartments, not on the whole building per se. So I think that would be things that if people saw would help, like I say, ease things. Also, we talk about Mr. Newton, Captain Newton. I've known Billy Newton since he was 10, okay? That the $750,000, I believe the board had a vote on that. The people who represent us people out on the street, that they should have maybe said, hey, this is a little bit too much money for the town. Maybe we could renegotiate. Maybe we can make Captain Newton Deputy Chief Newton, since we don't have one. Maybe, and give him a raise. Maybe that would have solved this issue instead of us shelling out $750,000. So maybe that could have been negotiated a little bit better. But I don't think you should blame the town people for $750,000. You board members voted on it, man. You said this is the money we should give this captain. So thank you. That's all I have. And yeah, have a nice Thanksgiving.
Next up, we have Edward Grimes.
Edward Grimes.
This latest election was a referendum against Dodd and his radical right-wing policies. On January 1st last year, the disabled community was locked out of the party that was thrown for New Year's. The disrespect of the disabled has got to stop in Dover, and now you have a disabled person on the council. During the election, There was a lot of rhetoric against the gay and trans community, and it was absolutely disgusting. Well, that's got to stop. And now you have a trans woman on the council. There was a lot of stuff in the past about women, misogyny. We've heard the videos of Mayor Dodd calling Mayor Blackman a C and a P, horrible things. Well, now you have more women on the council that you can deal with, Mayor Dodd. Are you going to say the C word now? Say the C word now, Dodd. Get, I dare you.
Adios. Anyone else?
Hey, you cut me off.
Yes, we did.
All right, Daniela Meza.
Daniela? Meza?
Good evening. My name is Daniela Meza. I am an employee of JBWS, the leading domestic violence agency in Morris County, and I'm also a resident of Dover, specifically the Meridia. And I come to this space because parking has been an awful situation the last couple of weeks for me and my family, and I assume a lot of other residents in the building. When we signed the lease, 3 adults. We were told that we could use the lot right across from the train tracks overnight at no cost. I did it once. I got a parking ticket. And as of recent, we've been told that we're only allocated 2 parking spots, which doesn't make any sense because when we signed the lease as 3 adults. It's not like I was a child and I aged out, or it's an overcrowded apartment. It doesn't make any sense. Sergio has been trying to help us resolve this issue with the town, and the town wants to charge us the same amount the Meridia charges for a lot that's over the daytime and overnight is covered. Insurance takes it into consideration. So I come to this space for hopefully a solution. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank any housing information I can get in the future, as I am the housing navigator for JBWS, and I'm always trying to connect our survivors to safe and stable, affordable housing. Thank you so much.
That's all at this time, Mayor.
And I pose this question to the public, and I just want to comment on some of the topics that were brought up here tonight. I guess I'll start with the Maria Chacon and her comments against Sergio. Criminal coercion was brought against Sergio. I said it before, and I'll continue to say it, because he was targeted. Sergio simply went into a liquor store and advised the individuals as a council member, which he should do. And if Sergio is guilty of criminal coercion, then I should be in jail. Because it's our job as elected officials to go in and tell establishments when they're doing wrong. That's our job. That's what we're elected for. If we have a liquor store that's selling to minors, it's our obligation to tell them, listen, we sell for minors. By going into a liquor store and telling the individual that when your liquor license comes up for renewal, I'm not going to support it. That is not criminal coercion. That's the duties of an elected official. So I'm confident that case will be dismissed. And, it's unfortunate that everyone wants to continue to come back and beat a dead horse. And I'm done. I won't talk about it anymore because I had enough. It's a fact. It's a fact that he was doing his job as an elected official. When you want to talk about pilots, Dennis Tui mentioned the collection of pilots. They should pay whether they're occupied or not. As a matter of fact, I did that at the first project coming into Dover, which was Meridia. When I negotiated with George Papadaglia, we did not know the market. It's uncharted territory. Were they going to bring $1,200, $1,500, $2,200 a month? We did not know. I am a very conservative, fiscally conservative person. I wanted to know what the benefit of the town was going to be. And the only way we could do it was to come up with a 2% construction cost on that project, which equated to approximately about $500,000 a year that the town was getting in revenue from Meridian. When I left office, the new administration called him in and said, we're not going to accept your 2% construction costs anymore. We're going to go to a conventional pilot. That was not the original agreement. That's not the funding that they used to build that building. That was a $50 million building. We also negotiated the infrastructure improvements of $8 million. The town bonded for the $8 million at 1.5%, and we lent it to Meridia at 3.5%. We were making 2% revenue on the $8 million, which would have totaled over 10 years to approximately $350,000. When the Blackman administration came in, they decided they were not going to go with 2% construction costs anymore, and they wanted their $8 million back. What happened was it forced the developer to sell the project. Capadaglia sold that project, and it's the only project he has ever sold, and he owns, I think, about 6,000 apartments or more. And so it's unfortunate because the administration did not understand development or redevelopment, and they lost a great opportunity. Well, when they renegotiated the developers agreement, they had only collected about $67,000 in interest on the $8 million, which they would have got $350 if they're not on this term, but they decided not to. So that was a huge mistake on a pilot, and that's why you have to have people up here who understand what negotiation is when it comes to redevelopment. We also, I'm just going to say this. I wasn't going to talk about it, but I'm going to Ray Haduka and I guess TC McCourt about Chief Delaney's promotion. If there was not merit to Newton's claim, there would not have been a settlement. I'm not going to get into the details. I think Mr. Haduka said it clearly that Bill Newton had seniority, and that plays a huge role. But that's it. I'm not going to continue to dwell upon that. We're going to move on, put the past behind us. Also want to just address the park and group. I think it's important that
it's $7,000. If we did, and it went to trial and it came out as more, the town of Dover would have been responsible for the entire settlement.
That's correct.
And not insurance company.
That is correct. And it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback when you're not sitting up here and these difficult decisions to make. But to Councilman Scarnio's point, when the depositions were held in the lawsuit, not one person from that administration could answer why Chief Delaney was chosen over you. That clearly came back to us. Not one person, including the mayor, would say why it was done. And the advice came back to us is you better settle this for the $750,000, because if you don't, this is going to go into millions against the town government. And so that's why this board voted to settle at $750. And also to Councilman Scarnio's point, joint insurance fund are the ones who make that determination. If they request us to settle at a specific number, if we don't settle at that number, then the burden becomes 100% on the taxpayers. So I think it was prudent for this town to accept that settlement and move on. But I'll go back to my original comment. If there was no merit to that case, there would not have been a settlement. And lastly, I just wanted to thank you for that. And I just want to real quickly to Daniela Menza, who spoke about the parking issue. I want Alex to jump back in. Can you allow Alex to come back in? Because Alex had worked very hard for over a year to develop a new parking structure for the town of Dover. So Alex, can you speak to Daniela's comment on the parking situation in municipal lots and also Meridian?
Certainly. So there's two items I'd like to address, if I can. Certainly the parking. We are rolling out, as the community is aware, the new parking ordinance. So the residential neighborhoods, those that are overcrowding that have cars, they have to prove by valid COC through code enforcement, and if vehicles have to be registered. So it's one step, one little hurdle to help, deter the overcrowding, because they won't be able to park on the street. Now, that's not saying every property that's overcrowded will have that issue there where they have to park on the street. I say that to say the next. Code enforcement with Bill Island coupled with council's office, are actively working right now to develop an ordinance for mayor and council to do annual rental inspections, again, to help safeguard the residents, the community from this overcrowding issue that's there. So we are actively pursuing the overcrowding issue and the parking issue in neighborhoods. As far as the Meridia parking complex goes, all I can say is I don't work for Meridia. Meridia should advise when you sign the lease that this is the amount of parking allocated to you. I've lived in many apartment complexes. I find it a little hard pressed that it was naturally assumed by number of adults means a number of cars. That's typically outlined in the parking and lease agreements and where to park if there's assigned or designated, because they need to know if their parking lots are at capacity. With that being said, we understand there's a little bit of a parking concern related to Meridia as well as 1 Thompson. We are actively, again, rolling out the parking ordinance for the entire downtown area, for residents in the downtown area, where if there is a need in these apartment complex to find additional parking, we can provide that permit. Additionally, again, if you do have a valid CFC, if the vehicle is registered there, we certainly have no problem giving out additional parking permits. But the last thing we want to do is issue more permits than we have demand for, or give permits out to anyone who is not a lawful occupied resident. The Meridia should have advised you, and I will talk to them tomorrow when they do sign their leases with tenants coming in, to ensure they understand, the parking rules and regulations. I did work with Sergio and the code enforcement as well as Meridia to reinstate that lower parking deck that should be going back to Meridia after hours. I know that was a concern for many years, and that displaced a lot of the local residents onto the downtown streets and into that parking lot. But 2026, that parking lot, from my understanding, will be rolled out for permit parking. I know that was an agenda we had with the parking ordinance, but downtown parking, we're actively addressing that, as well as overcrowding issues.
Yeah, I know Sergio has brought up Meridian Parking several times to his office, so thank you. Anything else? That being said, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays for everyone and their families. Any motion for adjournment? All in favor? Thank you, everyone.